Once again, my friends, it is time for another chat. Made me watch this reviews. This time, 1993 Super Mario Brothers live action. Okay, full disclosure. When I was a kid, I thought this movie was great. I thought it was. I didn't care. Well, I didn't think about all its problems. I was just, hey, yay, I like Bob Hoskins, and John Leguizamo wasn't a crazy dumb bastard yet, and Dennis Hopper is good. He's great, and it had enough weird little callbacks to games. So I as a kid, I liked it. I watched it incessantly, constantly watching this as a kid. So I knew this movie from beginning to end. I remembered most of it when I did the rewatch yesterday. And this was made on the heels of Super Nintendo hitting the Western Shores, Super Mario World. And we also must remember, I believe, so we can correct me if I'm wrong, this movie was made without Nintendo as a partner. At least not Nintendo Japan. So, here we go. As an adult, this movie is an unmitigated disaster. Because one of its biggest problems is that it suffers from the localization of Mario. Up until, I believe, again, someone can correct me if I'm wrong, up until Super Mario 64, a lot of the names were different in Mario. Mario and Luigi were Mario and Luigi. Toad was Toad. But after that, a lot of problems. Peach was either called Princess Toadstool or Princess Daisy sometimes. That's what my memory's telling me from back in the day. We didn't call her Peach in America. We called her Princess Toadstool or Daisy. In this movie, they call her Daisy. Bowser, for literally almost 2 decades, was not Bowser in America. He was King Koopa. All the way through Super Mario World. He was King Koopa. He was Bowser in Mario 1, but then as soon as you got forward, he became King Koopa. And he's called, Dennis Hopper's Koopa is King Koopa in this. He's Koopa. He's not Bowser. And you get a lot of references to other names and this and that, and you see some things here and there in this movie. But in a sense, this is a movie that is Mario in name only. I mean, I chose this picture because they pick up these jumpsuits when they're deep inside Koopa's office building, not his castle's office building, to basically be the iconic outfits. And you see there they're wearing the jump boots to simulate the ability of Mario and Luigi to jump a lot and jump on things. The jump boots are simulating that. And they don't have any other powers. There's no fire flowers. There's no stars. There's no feathers. There's no suits. There's nothing. It's very, very realistic. Very grounded. That's where we're grounded. And it both helps and hurts the movie. It helps the movie because you got guys like Bob Hoskins and Dennis Hopper who are actual real actors who can be characters and stuff like that. It doesn't help it because when they do get a little fantastic, it looks silly and goofy and not in the good way. It's a little cringe at times. Or when they finally break out the bomb, everybody's freaking out about this tiny little thing that's walking around. Well, of course, we all know what a bomb, how dangerous a bomb is, but it's unbelievable. I mean, fireballs are shot from flamethrowers and all that kind of stuff. And then, of course, they lean into the dinosaur thing. So the whole port of this movie is that back in the 65 billion years ago when the meteor hit, it created a separate dimension where the dinosaurs Some were shoved off to a parallel universe, parallel dimension, where they had a version of Earth that is basically not full of life, and they evolved into humans. Although I have a problem with that. They're very human in their shape or size, but the eggs that the ladies are squeezing out, they're the size of my, they're like twice as big as my head. They're like this big, man. Them evolved dinosaur cooches ain't surviving the eggs they're pushing out. No. That thing's that is the Grand Canyon forever. But they're essentially humans. They even have English. Everything's even spelled the same on their side, which is very strange to me. And the whole point is King Koopa wants a shard of the meteorite that was given to Princess Daisy when she was taken by her mother over to the real world, over to our world in New York City, specifically Brooklyn, where without that shard, he can't merge the worlds. So 20 years later, Daisy's an adult. She happens to be involved in a university dig site where the door-rated dimension was, and they find some of the prehistoric dinosaurs that were trying to be humans, stuff like that. And the Marios are down on their luck because they're competing with big corpo construction guy and his plumbing. And then they get involved with Daisy because Luigi falls in love with her at first sight, and they go on a date. I will say one thing, though. The chick playing Mario's girlfriend, Daniela, oh, baby. Damn, ooh, she was hot. She was hot. But essentially, they give Daisy to Luigi. Mario has an adult girlfriend because Mario's an adult. They have no racist little brother, this and that. And then, of course, Koopa sends his goons, Iggy and Spike, to kidnap Daisy. Eventually, they kidnap her. Well, they've been kidnapping the wrong girls for about a month or so. And eventually, they give Mario and Luigi give chase. They end up in the Mushroom Kingdom, which is only called the Mushroom Kingdom because the de-evolved king, Daisy's father, turned into a giant fungus that is choking the city, trying to save his city while stop Koopa and help him anyway. And then there's the whole thing that the Koopa's whole plan is to merge the worlds where there's abundance of resources on Earth and use his de-evolution technology to devolve humans back to primates. Using at the time, now remember, this was also some marketing. This is the extent Nintendo was involved. Back in the day, there was when Nintendo was constantly putting out gimmicks, attachments, toys to be used with their consoles. There was the Super Scope, which looked like a bazooka. I didn't have one, but I knew a kid once at Christmas who had one, and he let me, and I used it. It was ridiculous. Looked cool, but ridiculous. But basically, portable Devo guns, and it's the Super Scope. I think that's what it was called, Super Scope. Anyway. So essentially, Mario and Luigi spend the entire movie running around the Mushroom Kingdom, either after being captured and evading Koopa and his Goombas. Toad is there, who plays a harmonica. He gets devolved into Goombas, which are not mushrooms, but just these giant hulking lizard dudes with tiny heads and tiny brains. Easily to King Koopa, loyal but really stupid. Anyway. And just running around, and everybody doesn't know where the rock is because some fat black chick, Big Bertha, play off the character of Big Bertha, has the rock, and then they have to go get it from her, and then it's got to rescue Daisy, and then they find all Daniela and the girls in the thing, and then they end up rescuing, and it's a whole big third act. Everybody gets rescued, running around, trying to stop Koopa from getting the fragment of the meteorite. Eventually, his second hand, his right hand lady gets it, but she wants power for herself and she can't handle it. Ends up getting herself aced when trying to use the meteorite. And there's something really dumb that happens, though. These are dinosaurs. They're cold-blooded. So if there was ice, it'd be a problem. At one point, they turn off all the pipes, all the heat in Koopa's building, and everything starts to freeze over. But none of the dinosaurs are affected. They're all fine. They should have all been shutting down a little bit from the cold, but they're fine. I think they forgot that part. Anyway, eventually it leads to a confrontation. I mean, you get Mario versus King Koopa. He's got a bomb, trust the fungus. and they tussle around, and they use the. Eventually, Luigi arrives after he helps Daisy pull the shard out of the meteorite. And they unmerge the worlds, and the competition. The corpo construction guy gets turned into a chimp. It's all there. It's all very rote and very mid, and not Mario at all. Is the kind of the problem. A lot of Mario names in general, like I said, but they don't actually do Mario stuff. And I mean, I don't respect Bob Hoskins and Dennis Hopper to have a fight or anything, but they didn't. They just put their toe in Mario lore and didn't really swim around. There's even Yoshi, because remember, this came out right after Super Nintendo, Super Mario World. But Yoshi's basically a tiny little T-Rex thing that does have the tongue. But it's not Yoshi, and it just goes... They just put these things in here to try and make us feel like there was some respect being paid to Mario. When I feel like... I'm not going to say it's disrespectful, but there's no charm for me in this movie as an adult. Because in a kid, I'm trying. As an adult, I'm not. Considering in the past... Let's see now... past 30 years, there's been so much more Mario that, especially Mario that's respected the lore, even the animated movie came out a couple of years ago, that I look at this and I think, man, they weren't even trying. Eventually, they devolved Koopa into a pile of goop, and they saved the day. And you get a literal 10-second cameo by Lance Henriksen playing the king as he gets re-evolved from a mushroom or fungus. Then everybody is to the back of the world sometime later. Daisy's going to stay behind even though she loves Luigi. But then, of course, the stinger at the end is she comes back looking battle-worn, ready for fight. I need your help. And Mario goes, okay, we'll help you. And Luigi's like, really? Yeah, I trust. Now I trust. Let's do it. And they had plans to try and do a sequel, but this movie bombed. It was a disaster. Complete and utter disaster. I like I said, you guys, Weasel says it well. It's so bad it's good. It's so bad that it's campy, and it has its moments. Listen, performances are good. Bob Hoskins is great. Dennis Hopper is great. John Leguizamo is annoying as fuck in this movie. Honestly, Latino playing Italian wasn't really working. Brooklyn Italian wasn't really working. Didn't work. Worked a little bit back then, not so much now. But it is what it is. I think it's a good movie for kids, but yeah, his whole big plan was to use his Devo guns to devolve humanity into primates so he could have resources. Now, I don't know what he would have done when the army actually showed up with guns and missiles and tanks. I don't know, because he didn't exactly have an army. That's kind of the silliness of it. Koopa doesn't really have an army. He's got a few dozen Goombas, it looks like. And that's not going to stand up to the U.S. military. Hell, even the NYPD probably would have had an okay time dealing with them. So I'm not exactly threatened by Koopa and his Goombas. Not exactly threatened. So there it is. I mean, I don't know much more to say about the movie. It has some nostalgia for what it tried to be, but to me, it doesn't hold up into how much somebody can actually respect the lore if they put the time in. And a lot of the live action stuff just didn't work. But that's it. I don't have much more to say. I don't hate the movie, but I never really want to see it again. If I hadn't been made to watch this, I hadn't seen this movie easily in at least 30 years. And I had no plans to ever watch it again. But you guys made me do it. So it's another chat. Made me watch this reviews. I didn't freak out, but I wasn't exactly loving it. So there you go. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Check out my gaming channel at Renaissance Nerd Arcade and follow me on X Twitter under @TheRedNerd. Thanks again for watching. Take it easy.